Hey brother! So Jay, I know over the past couple of weeks you have been talking about all sorts of Pixar parents, but you are aware Star Wars just came out, right? I still haven't shifted gears yet. But speaking of parents, there has been a ton of speculation as to who Reys are. But maybe we're asking the wrong question. Maybe what we need to be asking is, who is Rey's sibling? Razor. That's a funny word. So I think we can all agree that Rey is essentially the Luke character of this trilogy, and while Luke did have a huge parental reveal, he also had a sibling reveal. So, does Rey have a sibling, and if so, who is it? Well, this theory was inspired by a couple of guys who run a podcast that we love called The D-Cast. We've been on the show a couple of times, it's very entertaining, I highly recommend you check it out, I will put a link in the description below. They have a theory that I have to admit is a little bit far-fetched, but I am having so much fun thinking about, that Rey is Darth Vader's sister, which would make her Luke's aunt? That's weird, but stick with me, there is something to it. First off, if they are siblings, they have to have the same parents, right? So who are Anakin's parents? Shmi and the Force? Via midichlorians? Sorry, I hate the M word too. So Shmi obviously can't be one of the parents because she dies in episode 2, but the Force is pretty alive, even awake according to the title. So could the Force have gone all virgin birth again? And if so, why? Well, why did it do it the first time? Because prophecy. More specifically, the prophecy of the Chosen One, which foretold that a being would come to bring balance to the Force. That being was Anakin Skywalker. This brings about the question, what does balance of the Force even mean? From the Jedi's point of view, this tends to mean only light side of the Force. The dark side is corruption of the Force, a cancer that is not supposed to be there. However, it could also be interpreted that you need the perfect balance between light and dark for there to exist harmony in the galaxy. Almost as if the two are on a scale. To answer this question, let's look at what Anakin actually does to fulfill the prophecy and bring balance to the Force. First, he basically wipes out all of the Jedi who were at their peak, and basically making the light side of the scale way heavier than it should be. Of course, in the process, he makes the dark side much heavier, but literally at the same time, he spawns Luke and Leia, two little bundles of light side energy. Then throughout episodes 4 through 6, we see the other remaining light side users, Obi-Wan and Yoda, die off. And Anakin fully fulfills the prophecy when he kills Palpatine. So what about Luke, you're probably saying? Yes, he would probably be tipping the scales again, except Snoke, who apparently has been alive long enough to witness the entire galactic civil war. So what can we say from the fulfillment of the prophecy about the overall nature of the Force? I think we can say that the Force wants to be balanced and will do what it needs to become so. You can almost think of the Force like a family, where the light side and the dark side are the kids, and the parent is the balancer of the two. The parent doesn't have a favorite kid. They just want everyone to get along. Right, okay, great, Ben. But how does that make Rey and Vader siblings? Well, let's look back at episode 7, where we can see that the galaxy seems to have enjoyed some peace, until Luke starts training new Jedi. As the scale starts tipping back towards the light side, the dark side immediately attacks, and Snoke converts Kylo Ren, who again kills all of the Jedi, and Luke goes into hiding. If we go back to the family analogy, it's kind of like the dark side breaking all of the light side's toys. It's simply not fair, so the balancer has to step in and get the light side a new toy. Except we're not talking about toys. We're talking about intergalactic superheroes. So the only way for the Force, or the balancer, to even things out is to provide the light side with a new Force user. And it can only do so in this situation by literally impregnating someone and creating an equal but opposite being, aka Rey. So maybe sibling is a strong word to describe Vader and Rey. However, if you were to draw it on a family tree, they would at least have a line coming from the same parent, which would at least make them brother and sister across space and time. and the Force. And Rey is Luke's aunt, which is still weird. Jay, for my question of the day, what do you think? Is the D-cast onto something with this theory? Do you think it's possible that Vader could actually be Rey's sibling? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the towel section down below. Our version is a little bit different from theirs, so I will be sure to leave a link to their video in the description down below. Jay, that is everything I've got for you today, man. I will see you on Tuesday. Excellent news, Team Ben. We actually made up some ground on Jay in the Instagram battle last week. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Instagram. I suppose if you absolutely have to, you can also follow Jay. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you would like to see where Jay actually does discuss who Rey's parents could be, I will put a link right here.